But I'm sitting in the back of this car and I look at her, and it was like this light shone down on her. It really was. It was like this, and I just
I ordered some boiled shrimp in Louisiana. They were spicy. My lips swelled up.
It's okay. He wasn't going to use those lip that night anyway.
And it was his personality. Just funny.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't like Mike?
Right.
You know, just very warm.
He wore you down like a river carving a canyon.
No, the Walmart that I worked at, he
It was like a meat market.
Yeah, he only hired really young, pretty girls from tech.
I didn't imagine you as a big dater.
I had no game whatsoever.
And I was like, you know.
So if everyone around you's got red flags, then you may be walking in some deception.
This is your moment. This is your your season of singleness. Enjoy it.
If you ever feel sorry for a guy, you're done.
Life in Action with Mike and Phillip.
Phillip, I think we got an amazing episode.
Yes, we do.
This is going to be the episode where we have our greatest set of guests ever.
It's going to be epic.
We're peaking on this episode right here.
We're going to be so careful with what we say.
Exactly.
In the studio, we have our wives. My wife, Tesa Ruiz, and Phillip, your wife.
Miss Laura Lynn Baker.
Hey.
Yes, the famous Miss Baker.
Miss Baker. We've been married for 36 years.
Yes.
What about you guys?
Let me get my calculator. Was it 24 years?
Yeah.
24 years, yeah.
That's a long time.
We take Presley and add 1. That's what we always do.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, she made it easy.
Man,
That's
y'all
a
started
lot
quick.
of years.
We did.
3 months after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah. Man. Well, we all know this is life in action.
Yes.
And we're always finding a way to blend, these 3 things that mean so much to all of us, which is our faith, family, and then, of course, finances. And so today we're going to continue to do that, but I believe we're going to let kind of some family things lead the way because we got our wives here with us.
Yeah.
And so, when we're talking about marriage, I thought it would be fun. Let's go back to the beginning.
Hold on, let me grab my flux capacitor. Let's get in the DeLorean.
Let's time travel back
It's a long time. Yeah.
to when we were just, Mike, we were just wanting a girl to recognize us.
Yeah, we're
right?
babies.
We were just wanting to be recognized and wanting a girlfriend and wanting a lady in our life. And then these two come along. And so I want us to kind of go back and look at that and what clicked and what can be learned from those times. And so Mike, Tesa, y'all just kind of go, how did you guys meet? That first moment where you locked each other's eyes and you stared at each other. Was it love at first sight? How did you guys meet?
It was not love at first sight.
No.
I think Tesa thought I was an idiot when she first saw me because I was covered in bubbles, right?
Yeah, and he thought I was a hippie. So,
I thought she was a hippie. Yeah. She was in the back of a pickup truck and she was playing a guitar.
Yeah, hippie.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we were at Bible college.
Right.
At TBI. So I was in the back of the truck. I was playing guitar, and he runs out of the dorm covered in
Bubbles.
bubbles.
Please
Something-
explain. What kind of bubbles?
Yeah, I don't know.
Me and my friend, I think it was Justin Romero. We got into a fight. I was in the shower, or he was in the shower, and he dumped a whole thing of shampoo on my head. And then it started this big shampoo fight in the dorm. And next thing you know, we were both ran out covered in shampoo and bubbles. And
I was in the back of Jesse Martin, another student. His truck.
Tessa said, I got to husband that up.
Nope.
no.
No, I didn't.
What's crazy about our relationship is when we met, it was in November, and we just became friends. We all started hanging out in the same group together, and we were friends. And Tesa, we weren't really attracted to each other, were we? I mean, and it was I'll never forget the time that I remember seeing her in the altar in Bible college. We were doing worship, and I remember looking over at her, and she was totally lost in God. And I'd never seen that before. I've seen people worship God, but then they'll take a break. She was gone. She was, and I remember looking at her going, she's so different. I want that. That is amazing. But I didn't fall in love with her over that. It was just, I just thought she was very unique.
Yeah.
I didn't have that moment. And Mike was Mr. Personality, so I mean, everybody knew him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
funny
they
guy.
did.
Everybody, everybody knew Mike. So
So what was the first date? What was the first official date where you stepped out by faith and said, "Hey, how you doing?"
Our first date was at Olive Garden.
yeah,
And we went and saw The Preacher's Wife. And our
Oh,
meal was
wow.
$34.17. And Tessa didn't eat any of her food. And we left our dog bags on the table. And I got a ticket going home back to Sulphur.
Oh my God.
Wow. Okay.
So there's the whole
most
story.
It was the most inefficient date of my life. 'Cause I drove from Sulphur to Beaumont. I drove from Beaumont to Sulphur to pick her up, and then back to Beaumont for our dinner date, and then back to Sulphur to drop her off, and got a ticket, and then went back to. It was
Oh
just
my.
it was an expensive date.
yeah. I didn't think Lake Charles had movie theaters.
And
You know, we were on our way back, so we went on a weekend. We came to Louisiana.
Shh, we can't tell them the stories.
Well, that's part of the story. So I'm in the
No,
back.
it's nothing bad, but it's like these are, for reference, these were our deans. Philip and Laura were the deans of our
Hey.
school, and you weren't supposed to be
I think
dating.
we have a statute of limitations.
I think so. I think we're
I
good.
think y'all are good.
Okay, we've
4
proven
kids
ourselves.
later, you're good.
I could tell them the cheek story, can I?
No.
No cheek story. Well, I came home with her. A big group of us came home
Yeah.
to Louisiana. It was right after that ice storm because all the oak trees were destroyed. And we met her family and everything. Her dad was actually, she had found out her dad had cancer at that time, right?
Yeah.
So we came home and saw her dad and everything. And I did my Benny Hinn impression and made everybody laugh.
Oh,
but even then, we weren't really liked each other.
I
No.
feel like ours was just hanging out in groups of people, and the friendship just grew. And then then I started thinking, man, he's really funny. Like this, I don't know. Then we just clicked. I don't know how it happened. It just clicked, and
When I went, so Tessa never dated in high school. She never had a boyfriend. I always had a girlfriend. And when I got to Bible college, I told God, I said, look, I'm done with girls. I'm going to totally focus on God while I'm here. And that was like August. When did Bible college? August. And then in November, God brought Tessa into my life, but as a friend. And then, we became friends and we all hung out together. And I'll never forget the day we both were in the back of Jesse's little extended cab Ranger. Like we were squished back there. And we were on our way back from San Antonio to Columbus. Tessa rode on one side and I rode on the other. And like, I'm not like attracted to Tessa. She's not really like my type, so to speak, you know? She's not Hispanic. She's not anything like that. She's just like,
She is a white girl.
she is a white girl. And, you know, where I'm from, white girls were the prize. And you weren't worthy of getting a white girl.
Oh God.
I'm Hispanic, by the way, in case you listen. But anyway, but I'm sitting in the back of this car and I look at her and it was like this light shone down on her. It really was. It was like this. And I just saw her in a totally different way. And I was like, wow, I kind of like this girl. There's something about her.
yeah.
You know?
And it was his personality, just funny. Who doesn't like Mike?
Right.
Just very warm.
He wore you down like
Yeah,
a
he
river
did,
carving
he
a
did.
canyon.
Yeah. So that's
I
our story.
love it. I love it. What about you, babe? How did you?
Yeah.
I'll let you.
Well,
Take the lead on
come
us.
Well, we both worked at Walmart. We were going to Louisiana Tech. Both worked at Walmart. Phillip worked back in the automotive department, and I was the door greeter at the front. Hey, welcome to Walmart. How are you today?
Oh,
Really?
nice.
Come on in.
I thought they only let old people do that.
Thank you. No, the Walmart that I worked at, he
It was like a meat market.
yeah, he only hired really young, pretty girls from tech and nice, handsome young boys. He had
The day we would just do a tour across the front because it was just like, wow. Wow.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
Wow. I want to go to that Walmart. Well, I would have, but not now.
It was
not now.
It
I'll
was
probably get
something.
arrested.
It was something. 20 years old boy, hormones. It was something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I had gone out with his best friend. That wasn't a great date. But we had a good time, but it didn't go really, really well. And so I had noticed Phillip, and I had told a girl that I worked with, I was like, he's really cute. She's like, well, you like him? And I was like, yeah, I think he's cute. He's cute. And he asked me out. We were back in the break room, and he said, would you like to go? Well, free meal. I'm in college. Yes, absolutely. And we went out. You tell them where we went, and you tell the story.
We went to Calhoun, Louisiana. We went and ate a little seafood place, and I ordered some boiled shrimp. And Louisiana, they were spicy. My lips swelled up.
His fingertips, lips, everything.
Yeah, they had it. It was kicking.
It's okay. He wasn't going to use those lips that night anyway.
I didn't have any game. And if I knew then what I know now.
You did not.
I did not. And then we went and saw Jumpin' Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg, over at Pecanland Mall in Monroe, Louisiana. And we just had a great time. And she talked. I laughed.
That's what I remember is I laughed that whole night. I just laughed and laughed and laughed. And then, of course, I remember, I have to tell the story on him. I remember he came to the door and he had this white 100% cotton. We're talking 80s, okay?
Yeah.
100% cotton long sleeve shirt, and it had pockets on the front, and the pockets had a pleat down the middle.
Like a guayabera?
Yeah, and the pleats were like you could cut your fingers on the pleats. Wow. And I was like, wow. I said, did you iron that shirt? I was, fixed to be really impressed. He goes, oh, no, it came out of the dryer this way.
Wash and wear?
I should have known. Yeah.
Well, if we're going to talk about clothes, I can still close my eyes. And to this day, I could see that white, short mini skirt.
Okay.
And then in the movie, she throws both of her legs up over mine and crosses her legs. And I'm like, dang.
Was that your first date, Phillip?
That was our first date.
No, your first date.
No, I had like
two.
a few days.
Oh, okay.
It was like
Two.
A couple.
less than a handful, and none of them went well.
I didn't imagine you as a big dater.
I had no game whatsoever.
I was not Tessa. I had a 4.5-year relationship, high school and college, and then got to college, and I was doing my best to hit all of the freshmen or sophomores, juniors, or seniors. I didn't care.
Yeah, I was way out of my league.
No.
But I still remember those legs. And
but you know what? I did go home that night, and we sat in your mom's and your parents. We sat in the driveway, and we just began to talk about. And it really was the first time I think on a date that I had ever talked to anyone about what they wanted to do, their vision. You know what? I didn't know the word vision then, but we talked, and he said, "Look, all I know is I'm in school." But I am called to be in full-time ministry. I am called to go to the world. I am called, and really pretty much everything that we're doing now, he pretty much laid it out.
Wow.
And I mean, that was our first date. And I went home.
What were you thinking?
You knew exactly what you were getting, though.
I did. And it's funny because I'd always prayed growing up. I'd always prayed that I would marry a man of God. Mm-hmm. But, I was just a good little Baptist girl. And I thought that meant like, a deacon or, somebody in the Baptist. Just good. I had no idea. But,
that I'd drag you all over the world.
Yeah. But I went home that night and my roommate was a cheerleader and all that stuff. But I walked in and I said, I met the man I'm going to marry.
Wow.
And she kind of chuckled because I had dated quite a bit. And I said, no, I met the man I'm going to marry. And seriously, after that, I didn't go out anymore. I mean, it was just with him all the time. Mm-hmm. And we would go to his parents' house. He was still living at home. And we'd hang out with his parents. Those were our best friends. We would hang out with them, do stuff with them, and they'd go on dates. And we were pretty boring, but everything in me flipped. Yeah. And I knew he was it.
Wow.
Every week, Life in Action wants to give away a copy of Phillip and Laura Baker's new book, The Path. A great marriage is not a destination, but a path. Simply sign up for our weekly drawings by following us on Instagram, lifein_action. That's it. Follow and you're entered. Now, back to the show.
So when y'all look back at, I know the attraction and you've got, you're funny and all that stuff. But in those first few months of really kind of stepping over that line and really beginning to pursue us being together, what were some of the things y'all felt like really clicked that made it last the test of time?
And I think the biggest, most important thing when you're trying to find a mate is you've got to, step one, be able to hear from God. And if you don't have that, then you're just shooting blind. I know that when we went to go visit my aunt one time in Houston, and we were driving back to the camp for the day, and she was singing a song or something in her little Mitsubishi. I was driving, and I remember it was like God spoke to me and said, "That's your wife." And I was like, "Okay, I know I'm going to marry her." And it wasn't like some huge moment. It was just like a decision that was made for me, and I knew I was going to marry her. And I was like, "Okay, well then that's that." Right. I know that doesn't happen for everybody. That's the way it kind of happened for me. But I think if I would have not told God, "Hey, I'm done with girls until you bring my wife into my life," then I would have missed that.
Yeah.
And
It was never. I wasn't the girl that grew up dreaming of getting married. Like, I didn't date. It just wasn't on my plan anytime soon. And I was going through so much at Bible college with my dad, fighting cancer and everything. So I wasn't even zoned in on Mike so much of like, oh, this is the one. It just, for me, it happened dealing with a bunch of stuff. And just there was a moment that he and I got in an argument one night after we were engaged, which is crazy. Oh, was it after we were engaged or before?
yeah,
It was after we engaged.
I'd already moved to Louisiana.
Yeah, and he just said, "I'm not going to marry you." He was like, I don't. This is not what I want, and I don't deserve, like, because there was like some jealousy and just some like stuff, and I think it all ties in when you know my background with my dad and everything, and so anyways, he was just like, I don't. This is not what I want, and he left, and that night, that's when I knew. Because it was him leaving, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose him. Like, I didn't even think that was a possibility, but I'm going to lose him, and I love him, and this is who I want to be with, so I'm going to have to change this thing inside of me, and I called all night long, and he wouldn't answer because he was like,
Playing hardball.
Yeah.
Well, I'd moved my whole life to Louisiana. I had left. My family was not in a good situation. My family was going through bankruptcy.
Yeah.
My parents were almost on the verge of divorce. And so I left all of that drama to Louisiana. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go get in ministry with Tesa. We're going to get married. We're going to start this life together. And when that happened, I was like, dude, I'm the stupidest guy in the world because I just left everything and I'm getting treated like, I don't know, I was weird. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And
so that was the moment. And then I got before God, and I was like, I have got to deal with this. I've got to change this. And I did. And I think a month or two later, we were back together and, on our way.
So y'all weren't together for a month?
Gosh, how long? I mean,
it was, no, it was maybe a week.
Was it?
Yeah, because we went to Jesse's thing January 17th.
That's right.
Yeah, that's when he got married. And then that happened like, I moved here December 19th.
Yeah.
So it was at the end of December. It was after Christmas, I think, that happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay. Well, I think, and I'll let Laura respond
How did
here
you know? When did you know?
in just a moment. Well, I wanted to make
Hey,
this
I wanna
point
know.
because we are talking about spiritual things, but
Yeah.
at the same point, we never want anyone to think that spiritual overrides. Let me put it to you this way: God ain't gonna make you marry an ugly woman.
That's right.
He ain't gonna make you marry an ugly man.
Nope.
There is no amount of spirituality in the world that make you marry someone that you don't want to look at for the rest of
That's
your
right.
life. And so, there is some carnality here.
Absolutely.
Mike thought Tesa was fine. Tesa thought
Yeah, we
Mike
left
was
that out.
handsome.
Still do.
I thought Laura, I was like, my gosh, she's so dadgum out of my league.
Those
I mean, it
legs.
was just legs and, I'm thinking Commodore's brick house. I mean,
my.
just, I just want to be real.
You're right,
I
you're right,
wanna
you're
be
right.
real.
Yeah.
And then undoubtedly she thought I was cute.
Absolutely.
And so you enjoy each other's company. You
That's
make
it.
each other laugh.
Yep.
there's an ease being with one another. You're not having to work at it, just to stay together.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You just like being together. Now, when you have all that, and then you add the things of God, you add, that peace that both of y'all stepped into.
Yeah.
That's what we had. And so all the stuff that was there needed to be there, but I believe there was that agreement of vision. There was that peace that came over us, as far as you have this peace with God, that you're with the right person, that you feel like this is trending in the right direction. And so does that make some sense, babe?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, let me make it very clear. I was very physically attracted to Tessa because our second year, when she came back from she wasn't coming back the second year, and then she showed up like 2 weeks late. Her father had passed away that summer. She went through like a really dark time, and I was moving on because we kind of broke up over that summer. And when she came back, she looked different. She was a new person. And I was like, and then long story short, Derek Scott actually got us back together, and we, he made us. He's like, hey, Mike, you want to go to the movies with me? I'm like, sure. He's like, hey, Tess, you want to go to the movies with me? Sure. And then we would get on the car, and we're all together, the same, us three, and we go, okay, this is the
y'all
setup.
need to talk.
Yeah, well, y'all need to talk, and so we could actually thank Derek Scott for our wedding,
Oh,
for our
wow.
marriage. But
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I love it.
So,
Well, let's
yeah.
do this as we kind of getting close to kind of finishing out this episode, this show. Somebody's out there. You're listening to this. You're driving down the road. You're at home. You got your earbuds in. You got your headphones on, and you're not married. And maybe you're with somebody. Maybe you're not with somebody. Let's just take a moment. And I don't want to say it's the number one thing we would want them to know, but if you were talking to someone, that hasn't met that someone yet, what would you want to tell them? What would be something you would want them to know that would kind of give them a piece of wisdom? Let's all take turns, and then we'll finish some things out. And so, yeah, you go ahead, go first, Mike.
Y'all said years ago, if you want a fox, be a fox. So if you've got a standard, you want somebody that's a standard in your life, then become that.
Yeah.
And work on yourself and get yourself ready.
Yeah.
And then allow God to bring that person into your life.
Yeah, all these people that want a righteous fox. Well, are you a righteous hunk?
Right.
That's right. Yep.
And so
Work on yourself. That's the best thing you can do.
yeah, get ready to be the person she. Get ready to be the person he needs, wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What about you, Miss Tessa?
I think the same thing. Just work on, because whatever you are now, when you go into that marriage, you're bringing all of that with you. So take that season of singleness, enjoy it. I always tell my girls, I know, because they're at the, one's 19, one's 23, and I tell them this is the only time for you. It is the only time when you are the most important person. When you get married, you have to take into consideration your husband. And then when you have kids, you no longer exist. I mean, their needs
Right.
come before any needs. Your husband, and then you go on, I'm sure, to be a grandparent, and then the grandbabies you're helping raise. This is your moment. This is your your season of singleness. Enjoy it. Work on those things inside of you. Like he said, become the fox that you want to attract. And then you can go in and no regrets and,
good.
ready to go.
That's good, Tess. What about you, babe?
I think I would say more than anything, just don't settle for good. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, sometimes you can be in a relationship it's okay, it's good, but you better, number one, you better know before this is a lifelong commitment.
Right.
You need to go into it knowing that that God's told you that this is who it is. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things you can do is talk to the people around you that trust you, that you trust, that have invested in you, that have an investment in your success.
Yeah.
And if they have red flags, at least pause.
Right.
Yes.
at least pause. At the very, very least, pause. But if you got, but I will say this: if everyone around you's got red flags, then you may be walking in some deception. You better get alone, and you better
The
hear
whole
from
world
God.
is wrong. I'm right.
Yeah,
that-
exactly.
That's not how that works, and that's why God puts people in your life. But don't settle for good. Wait for great, because you're worth it.
Yeah.
So make sure that it's God's best. That's where great comes from.
Yeah.
Good comes from man. Good comes from
Yeah,
somebody
that's
that
good.
you can get along with for right now. Because the thing is, people can be whoever that you want them to be for a period of time.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, sometimes you can't see it, but people around you, they can see it. And when they can see it, that's when red flags go up. You better listen. You better listen.
Yeah. Somebody said the enemy of God's best is good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want my kids to have good. And if you're out there listening to us, I don't want you to have good. I want you to have God's best. I think I'll leave it. I'll be a little bit more specific and talk to a guy and talk to a girl. I think one of the things I've heard during this episode is how important the vision is. There's an agreement of vision moving forward into a marriage. The Bible says that we're heirs together of the grace of life. And so there has to be, you have to be on the same page. A husband and wife needs to be on the same page. So if you're a guy and you're listening to this, before you start getting involved with a young lady, expecting her to hitch her wagon to you and stay with you, you need to understand, you need to have an understanding, what is your vision for your life? What is it God's called you to do? How are you going to make a living? What's going to be your career? What direction are you moving in? And if you don't know those things, well, then you're not ready to be in a serious relationship with a young lady, because that young lady, she needs more than just a man. She needs a man with a vision that she believes in and that she can be in agreement with, and that she has a grace on her life to help you fulfill that vision.
Yes.
And so, young man, that you're listening, can you answer those questions? And then if I'm talking to a young lady, you're on that first date with that guy. Oh, there you are. Oh, you're at a nice restaurant. It's so nice. He's so cute. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. He's got such a nice butt. I mean, it's just, and he's funny. Oh my God, I love his smile. And you're just having a good time, and you're giggling, and everything's going on. Before those emotions get rolling, you need to stop, and you need to ask him about, where does he see himself in a year? Where does he see himself in 5 years?
Yeah.
What's the vision for his life? What does he want to do for the rest of his life? Because that stuff matters.
That's good.
I always tell young ladies, I don't want anybody listening to this and thinking that you're supposed to go be a gold digger. No, that's not what we're supposed to be. I don't want you to be a gold digger, but I want you to be a vision digger.
Yeah.
You need to find out what that vision is on that first or second date. And what you might hear is, I don't know. I don't have a clue. I'll figure it out later. Right now, I'm just enjoying working and playing my video games. Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not ready yet.
Yeah. Nope.
That guy's not ready yet.
Phillip, what about the girls? I see this so often. I know you have too. Girls who feel sorry for a guy and they want to marry him.
Yeah, that happens. Absolutely. That goes back to being a vision digger. Because when you're on that first, second, third date and he shares with you his vision and you go, wow, wow. There's this respect, this honor, this guy knows where he's going, and I believe in what he's saying. I could be a part of that.
Yeah.
What is the opposite of that? You get some guy, he's messed up, drama, dysfunction, doesn't have a clue. Last thing on his mind is tomorrow. He's hurt, he's wounded, and you're sitting there, young lady, and you're at the table, and he's you're starting to feel sorry for him. It's like,
Pity.
I just feel sorry. Ladies, you're in a dangerous place. You're in a dangerous place because there's something in you guys that, affection follows sympathy. And all of a sudden, this mama thing starts clicking on the inside of you, and you're
fix
like,
him.
oh, I can help him.
Yeah.
I can fix him. I'm his answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to rehabilitate him. And you're sitting there with these grand designs of a restoration, and all he's thinking about is getting your shirt off.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Real.
So I always tell ladies, if you ever feel sorry for a guy, you're done. Say goodnight.
Run.
Take me home.
Yeah.
Run. That guy's not ready to be a boyfriend, to be a husband. You're not looking for that. You're looking for wow. You're looking for vision. You're looking to be a vision digger.
Yeah.
And so look for those things, and then guys, you be those things.
Be those things.
And I will say this to ladies, because if that's what attracts you, you may be attracted for just a few minutes,
Bum
or for
magnets.
a little bit. But what you are attracted to, you will eventually find as a weakness in him, and it will irritate you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% true. It will irritate you.
Bum magnets. Don't be a bum, and don't be a bum magnet.
There you go.
Be vision diggers.
Right.
And I think that's what we have in common. I think we got together. Was there attraction?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Did we think each other was funny? Did we? Was there a peace? Were we all loving God more than we loved each other? Yes. There was an agreement of vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We believed in each other. And Tessa, you believed in the direction Mike was going. Laura believed in the direction I was going. And here we are all those years later. And we didn't get good. We get God's best.
Yeah.
And that's what we want everybody that's listening to have. And so
Yeah.
this has been a good one.
It was, ladies, thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us. We'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. We will.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you.